As the old saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. It may sound a little cynical, but it's very true. Every time archaeologists dig beneath the ground, the past finds a way to remind us it was never really gone. And nowhere is that more true than with the ancient Romans. From concrete that can repair its cracks to hidden slave tunnels beneath Hadrian's villa. The Romans built things that were never meant to survive this long. Yet somehow they did, and they're still telling their story. In this video, we'll look at the 15 incredible Roman artifacts that survived 2,000 years. Before we move on, if you're new to our channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Number 15. Lycurgus Cup. The Roman nanotechnology. Modern nanotechnology truly began in 1981 when the scanning tunneling microscope allowed scientists to see and control individual atoms. But what if we told you that nearly 2,000 years earlier, the Romans had already created something that modern scientists still struggle to explain? It all comes down to an incredible drinking cup called the Lycurgus Cup. At first sight, there's nothing especially strange about it. It looks like an ordinary green Roman glass vessel. But the moment you place a light behind it, everything changes. The green glass suddenly turns a deep glowing red, almost as if someone secretly swapped it for a completely different cup. And that's exactly what has amazed people for centuries. What's even more surprising is that this wasn't a trick of paint or hidden dye. Like the legendary recipe of Greek fire or the secrets behind Roman concrete, the real mystery was buried inside the glass itself, remaining hidden until modern microscopes finally revealed what Roman craftsmen had unknowingly created. Number 14. The Portinaccio sarcophagus. The ancient Romans believed a person's greatest achievements should outlive them. That's why their temples, triumphal arches, and even their tombs were built to tell stories that future generations would never forget. One survivor of that tradition is the Portinaccio sarcophagus, carved during the late 2nd century AD. Its marble surface is full of Roman cavalry charging into battle, defeated barbarians beneath their horses, and soldiers locked in fierce combat, all carved with great detail. Art historians have long noticed similarities between Trajan's column and the column of Marcus Aurelius, monuments celebrating Rome's victories over its enemies. But hidden within all that action is a mystery no one has been able to solve. The victorious commander at the center has no face. Several other important figures were left unfinished as well. Some scholars believe it was intended for the Roman consul Aulus Julius Pompilius Titus Vivius Livius Piso Berenicianus, while others think it was carved in advance for an unknown buyer who never claimed it. Whatever the truth, the battle survived, but the hero's identity did not. Number 13. The ancient Roman curse tablets for millennia. People across Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece turned to magic to heal the sick, curse their enemies, and seek favor from powers beyond the human world. And the Romans did exactly the same. Long before courts could settle a dispute, many Romans believed justice could be delivered by the gods themselves. One of the most incredible examples comes from the Roman town of Aquae Sulis, now known as Bath. It was built around a steaming natural hot spring dedicated to the goddess Sulis Minerva and welcomed soldiers, merchants, and travelers from across the empire. But where crowds gathered, so did thieves. Cloaks, coins, rings, and personal belongings often vanished while their owners bathed. Instead of accepting the loss, many victims turned to something far more disturbing. They carefully scratched furious messages onto thin sheets of lead, folded them shut, and cast them into the sacred spring. The weirdest thing is that archaeologists found more than 130 of these curse tablets buried beneath the mud at the bottom of the sacred spring. Some demanded blood. Some called for blindness and sickness. And some for endless suffering until the stolen belongings were finally returned. Number 12. The Roman harnessed horses of Pompeii. When Pompeii was first discovered, most people expected to find grand villas, colorful frescoes, and statues frozen beneath volcanic ash. Few imagined that one of the city's most revealing discoveries would come from a stable. In 2018, archaeologists excavating near the Villa of the Mysteries found the remains of at least 3 horses, buried exactly where they died during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. 2 were still wearing elaborate harnesses, while another had been fitted with a saddle. The discovery raised new questions. Were their owners preparing a desperate escape as ash and volcanic gas closed in? Or had they been readied to rescue someone who never made it out? Roman horse harnesses are super rare, making this one of the clearest glimpses into mounted life during the empire. And the strange thing, the excavation happened during Operation Artemis, a major Italian police investigation targeting illegal antiquities trafficking. What began as a search for looted artifacts ended with one of Pompeii's most incredible discoveries, preserving a final moment that ended nearly 2,000 years ago. Number 11. The perplexing Roman Dodecahedrons. Everything, built by the ancient Romans, had a purpose. They gave the world roads that still exist, aqueducts that carried water across entire valleys, and even books explaining how many of those things were made. That's what makes this next artifact so weird. More than 100 strange bronze objects have been found across Britain, France, Germany, and other northern parts of the former Roman Empire, yet not a single Roman writer ever bothered to explain what they were for. Today, they're known as the Roman Dodecahedrons. Each one is a hollow bronze object with 12 pentagonal faces, circular holes of different sizes, and small rounded knobs on every corner. They were crafted using the expensive lost wax casting technique, which tells us they were valuable from the very start. Some were buried with silver hoards, while others were placed inside wealthy graves. Historians have suggested everything from surveying tools and astronomical devices to religious relics, but none of those theories have ever been proven. Nearly 2,000 years later, the Romans left us the object, but forgot to leave the answer. Number 10. Roman surgical instruments. We all know that modern surgery depends on precision. A tiny mistake can mean the difference between life and death. What surprises many people is that Roman doctors understood that same idea nearly 2,000 years ago. Archaeologists have recovered complete medical kits from places like Pompeii, containing scalpels, forceps, probes, bone levers, hooks, and even screw-operated vaginal speculums. Many of them look familiar beside the instruments used in hospitals today. They weren't improvised tools either. Every instrument was designed for a specific task, allowing physicians to cut, grip, examine, or remove tissue with remarkable control. Ancient medical writers like Aulus Cornelius Celsus and Galen described many of these procedures in detail, showing that Roman medicine relied on careful observation as much as practical skill. While they lacked anesthesia and knowledge of bacteria, their surgical equipment reveals a civilization that valued accuracy above all else. Looking at these instruments today, it's hard not to wonder just how many lives they managed to save with tools that still feel modern. Number 9. The classified Sibylline books. When the Roman Republic faced its darkest moments, the Senate didn't always place its faith in generals or new laws. Sometimes, the answers were believed to lie inside a set of ancient scrolls that almost no one was ever allowed to read. The Sibylline books were said to have been purchased from the Cumaean Sibyl during the reign of Rome's last king, Tarquinius Superbus. According to tradition, she first offered him 9 books. After he refused her price, she burned 3. Then another 3, yet demanded the same payment each time. Only then did the king buy the final 3. From that day on, the scrolls were locked beneath the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus and consulted only during the gravest crises. from devastating plagues to military disasters. Like the sacred oracles at Delphi, their words were never revealed to the public. Only the rituals inspired by them were announced. The real books were destroyed in the fire of 83 BC, taking all their prophecies with them. So, what do those missing 6 books contain? Number 8. Roman phallic amulets today. Most would probably see it as something crude or embarrassing. To the ancient Romans, however, it meant almost the exact opposite. Across the empire, small bronze phallus amulets were worn around the neck, placed above doorways, attached to lamps, or hung as wind chimes known as tintinnabula. Rather than representing obscenity, they were believed to protect homes, families, and travelers from the evil eye and other forms of bad luck. Some surviving examples are surprisingly elaborate, combining a phallus with wings, animal legs, or tiny bells, each intended to frighten away harmful spirits. Similar protective symbols appear in many ancient cultures, from Egypt to Greece, but the Romans embraced them more openly than almost anyone else. Hundreds have survived, reminding us that even one of history's most powerful civilizations was deeply shaped by superstition. Sometimes their greatest source of comfort wasn't a legendary sword or a shield, but a tiny charm hanging above the front door. Number 7. The Herculaneum Scrolls. When Mount Vesuvius buried Herculaneum in AD 79, it didn't just destroy homes and temples. It also sealed an entire library beneath volcanic debris. Hundreds of delicate papyrus scrolls were baked by the intense heat, turning them into fragile black cylinders that looked more like pieces of charcoal than books. For 2,000 years, they refused to give up their secrets. Every attempt to unroll them risked destroying the writing forever. Then, in recent years, experts found another way. Using powerful X-ray scans, artificial intelligence, and digital reconstruction, they finally managed to read one of the unopened scrolls without physically opening it. The recovered Greek text discusses Stoic philosophy and even mentions Aristocreon, a student and nephew of the famous philosopher Chrysippus, whose writings have almost entirely disappeared from history. More than 600 unopened scrolls still remain inside the Herculaneum collection. Like a library that has been waiting since the 1st century, they may preserve forgotten works by some of the greatest minds of the ancient world, still hidden beneath layers of carbonized papyrus. Number 6. The Capitoline wolf. Long before Rome ruled an empire, its story began with 2 abandoned twins and a she-wolf. Whether the tale of Romulus and Remus is history or mythology, it became one of the most enduring symbols of the ancient world. That legend lives on through the Capitoline wolf, a bronze sculpture that has represented the city of Rome for centuries. The wolf itself was long believed to date back to the 5th century BC, making it one of the oldest surviving Roman masterpieces. Then modern scientific testing challenged that belief. Radiocarbon analysis and studies of its casting technique now suggest the bronze wolf was most likely created between the 11th and 12th centuries AD, while the infant twins beneath her were added separately during the Renaissance. The discovery completely changed the debate surrounding one of Rome's most recognizable symbols. Even so, the sculpture continues to represent the city's legendary origins. Like the stories preserved by Livy and Plutarch, it reminds us that some of history's most powerful symbols survive not because every detail is true, but because people continue believing in them. Number 5. The Halitan Roman cavalry helmet. When archaeologists began excavating an ancient Iron Age shrine near the village of Halitan in 2000, they expected to uncover coins, animal bones, and traces of forgotten rituals. What they didn't expect was one of the rarest Roman military artifacts ever found in Britain. Buried beneath thick mud was what first looked like nothing more than a lump of rusted metal. It took conservators nearly 10 years of painstaking work before they realized it had once been an extraordinary Roman cavalry helmet, shattered into thousands of tiny fragments after lying underground for almost 2,000 years. As each piece was cleaned and reassembled, remarkable details slowly emerged, including a Roman emperor trampling a defeated enemy while the winged goddess Victory crowned him with a laurel wreath. Recent studies carried out during the creation of modern replicas even revealed a pair of griffins that had gone unnoticed on the original helmet, proving the artifact was still giving up new secrets after 2 millennia. Number 4. The Roman military diploma. We like to think that earning citizenship has always involved paperwork, signatures, and government offices. For a Roman auxiliary soldier, it came down to a bronze tablet, after serving at least 25 years on the empire's frontiers. Veterans received an official military diploma confirming they had been honorably discharged and granted Roman citizenship. It was one of the most valuable possessions they would ever own, because it also recognized important legal rights, including the right to a lawful marriage and citizenship for their kids. During excavations at the ancient city of Dultum in present-day Bulgaria, archaeologists recovered a broken fragment of one of these diplomas from the public baths. Although only about 1.5 inches survived, epigraphist Nikolai Sharankov identified it as part of an imperial decree issued by Emperor Hadrian on 17 July at 122, releasing auxiliary veterans who had served in Lower Dacia. It's incredible to think that a tiny piece of bronze, overlooked for nearly 2,000 years, could still preserve the exact day someone's military service officially came to an end. Number 3. The Gemma Augusti. When people think of Roman masterpieces, big statues and triumphal arches usually come to mind. Yet one of the empire's most incredible works of art is small enough to fit comfortably in your hands. It's called the Gemma Augusti, a magnificent cameo carved from a single piece of layered onyx during the early 1st century AD. Using the natural white and dark blue layers of the stone's unknown artist created an astonishing scene celebrating the power of Emperor Augustus. The lower half shows defeated barbarians beneath a Roman military trophy, while above them Augustus sits almost like Jupiter himself, surrounded by divine figures, with Tiberius arriving in triumph after victories in Germania. Unlike public monuments, which carefully portrayed Augustus as the humble guardian of the Republic, this private masterpiece tells a very different story. Here, he appears closer to a god than an ordinary ruler. That contrast is what makes the Gemma Augusti so fascinating. It doesn't simply preserve Roman craftsmanship, it reveals how imperial power was presented behind closed doors, far from the eyes of the public. Number 2. The oldest known Roman wine in ancient Rome. Wine wasn't simply poured at banquets or served during celebrations. It also accompanied the dead on what Romans believed was their final journey. That belief led to one of the most incredible discoveries ever made inside a Roman tomb. While excavating a sealed mausoleum at Carmona in Spain, archaeologists found a funerary urn containing cremated remains completely submerged in a reddish liquid. At first, nobody expected it to be anything remarkable. Laboratory testing, however, revealed something almost unbelievable. The liquid was ancient Roman wine that had remained preserved for nearly 2,000 years. Chemical analysis identified mineral salts and polyphenols still present in the liquid, confirming it had originally been a white wine whose color had changed over time. The completely sealed tomb had protected it from contamination, allowing it to survive where almost every other ancient liquid had vanished. Roman writers such as Columella described the empire's famous vineyards, but this find preserved something even rarer: not words about Roman wine, but Roman wine itself. Number 1. The Bloomberg tablets more than 2,000 years ago. A few ordinary wooden writing tablets were used to record loans, deals, and personal messages in the busy Roman city of Londinium. No one who wrote on them could have imagined they would outlive palaces, temples, and even the empire itself. Yet during excavations between 2010 and 2014 beneath the site of London's future Bloomberg headquarters, archaeologists found 405 of these tablets preserved in waterlogged soil. Although the beeswax they were originally written on had long since disappeared, many of the stylus marks had pressed deep enough into the wood to survive. Those faint scratches revealed the earliest handwritten documents ever discovered in Britain, including the oldest known mention of Londinium, written decades before the city appeared in the works of the Roman historian Tacitus. Like opening a bundle of forgotten letters, these fragile tablets preserve the everyday voices of merchants, freedmen, soldiers, and schoolchildren who lived almost 2,000 years ago. Well, hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.